It was a quiet Tuesday morning at St. Mary's Hospital. The nurses moved about their duties in the pediatric ward, where the hum of monitors blended with the soft rustle of footsteps and the occasional murmur of visitors. In room 217, however, a boy who had been in a coma for nearly 3 months lay still, his small chest rising and falling in the rhythm of artificial sleep. His name was Ethan Parker, a bright-eyed 9-year-old before a tragic car accident had stolen his consciousness. For weeks, his mother, Linda Parker, had been by his side. She was the epitome of a devoted mother, bringing his favorite storybooks, humming lullabies, and speaking softly to him as if her voice alone could coax him back to life. She had become a familiar figure in the ward, her presence comforting to both the staff and the other patients. That is, until today, at 7:45 a.m., Nurse Emma, a kind-hearted woman in her 30s, entered Ethan's room for the morning checkup. She hummed softly as she adjusted his /4 and recorded his vitals. Suddenly, a sharp, raspy breath broke the silence. Emma turned quickly. Ethan's eyes were wide open, darting around the room in terror. "Ethan?" Emma whispered, her heart racing. "Can you hear me?" Before she could say another word, Ethan let out a blood-curdling scream. "Help me!" he shrieked, his voice hoarse yet piercing. His small hands clawed at the air, and his face contorted in panic. Emma rushed to his side, trying to calm him. "It's okay, sweetheart. You're safe. You're in the hospital." Ethan's eyes locked onto hers, wild with fear. "No. She's going to hurt me. Don't let her come back." Emma's pulse quickened. "Who, Ethan? Who's going to hurt you?" He grabbed her wrist with surprising strength. "My mom," he cried. "She did it. She made the car crash on purpose." Ethan's words sent shockwaves through the ward. Dr. Patel, the attending physician, was called immediately. Ethan's frantic outburst and accusations were carefully documented, but Linda Parker was nowhere to be found. She hadn't come to the hospital that morning, which was unusual. When the staff tried calling her, they were met with silence. By afternoon, the police were involved. Ethan, still shaky but more coherent, told them everything. "She was arguing with Dad," he began, his small hands trembling. "She said she couldn't take it anymore. That it was all his fault. She was unhappy. Then she said if she couldn't have us, no one could." Tears streamed down his face as he continued. "She grabbed the wheel, and the car swerved off the road. I remember Dad yelling, and then nothing." The officers exchanged uneasy glances. According to the accident report, Linda had been the only survivor apart from Ethan. Ethan's father, Daniel Parker, had died on impact. The crash had been ruled an accident, until now. Later that evening, Nurse Emma sat by Ethan's side, holding his hand. "You're very brave, Ethan," she said softly. "We're going to make sure you're safe." Ethan nodded but remained quiet for a moment before whispering, "There's more." Emma leaned in. "What is it, sweetheart?" "She talks to me," he said, his voice barely audible. "Even when I was asleep, I could hear her. She would say things. Terrible things. She said I should have died too. That I'm just like him." Emma's heart ached, but she kept her composure. "It's over now. You're awake, and you're not alone." Just then, the door creaked open, and Detective Harris entered with a grave expression. "We've found Linda Parker," he announced. "She's been arrested." As the investigation deepened, a shocking twist emerged. Linda confessed under pressure, but not to causing the crash. Instead, she revealed a dark family secret. It wasn't an accident, Linda said during her interrogation. But I didn't grab the wheel. Daniel did it. He was the one who wanted to end it all. He thought it was the only way to escape. Linda claimed that Daniel had been struggling with severe depression and financial troubles. On the day of the crash, he had told her that their family would be better off together in peace than struggling apart. I tried to stop him, Linda sobbed. But it was too late. He drove us off the road. I've been living with this guilt, pretending it was an accident, because I couldn't tell Ethan the truth. I thought it would break him. The revelation stunned everyone. Could a grieving mother truly lie to protect her child from such a harrowing truth? Back at the hospital, Ethan began to piece together fragmented memories from the day of the accident. He remembered his parents arguing, his father's somber face, and then his father muttering something just before the crash. He said, "I'm sorry," Ethan whispered one night to Emma. I think Mom's telling the truth." But something still didn't add up. Weeks later, another bombshell dropped. Forensic evidence from the crash site was re-examined. The steering wheel bore traces of both Linda's and Daniel's fingerprints, but the position of the prints suggested something chilling. Linda hadn't been trying to stop Daniel. She had been fighting him for control, but not to save the family, to take them down herself. Confronted with this evidence, Linda broke down again. "Yes, he wanted to do it, but I didn't fight hard enough," she admitted. "A part of me wanted it too. I was so angry, so lost. We were both to blame." In the end, both parents had been complicit in the tragedy, driven by despair and anger. Ethan was left to grapple with the unimaginable truth about the people who had raised him. With his mother in custody and the full story out, Ethan was placed under the care of his aunt, Sarah, a warm and loving woman who promised to give him the safe and stable home he deserved. Though the scars of that day would remain, Ethan began therapy to heal and process the truth. In time, he found solace in the love of his new family and the resilience he discovered within himself. Sometimes, Ethan told Emma during a visit, "Bad things happen, and we don't understand why. But I'm still here, and I'm going to be okay." Emma smiled, her heart full. "Yes, Ethan. You will."